Hi, before we start this ASMR video, I'd like to thank all these members on my Patreon for their continued support. If you're looking for any content that I create on other platforms, check the link below. Now, let's get into the video. Hi, welcome to an anatomy class. I'll be your subject today. We'll be going over the male anatomy from the waist up. Sorry. Anything in particular you'd like to talk about immediately? No. Okay. So, I'll be showing you parts of the muscles. This shirt will come off, and we will go into depth about how to work out specific muscle groups above the waist. So, without further ado, how about we get into this and have a little session about the male anatomy. So the first thing, we have the arms. Everybody has arms. The left arm, the right. Pretty straightforward for that part. What can make a difference in terms of how your arms can look is how you decide to treat them. Do you do anything with them? Do you move them in ways that stimulate the muscle? That's a question for you to answer. It's rhetorical. I lift muscles all the time, lift weights all the time to help create definition in an arm. Let's get into it. We've got the wrists. From the wrist down to the forearm. Your forearm has, now I'm not an anatomy expert in terms of muscles on their names. I just know how to work them. So when you clench a fist, you'll see like many muscles connect from your wrist to your elbow, from your elbow to your armpit, or to your delts on your side, from your biceps and your triceps. Now, how do you work those muscles? How do you work your forearms? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to grip something strong. If you've got anything that's cylindrical that you can grab like this, wrap your fingers around it, your whole hand, give it a good squeeze. You'll notice that when you squeeze it, these muscles here, they pop out. Muscles here, they pop out. Muscles here, they pop out. When you grab something, squeeze it, muscles contract, builds up blood flow in the muscles, and from that, the muscles become pumped. So as you grab the muscles, as you grab the dumbbells, whatever it is you're grabbing, and you lift those dumbbells like so, you will work these muscles. What will happen is blood will flow into these muscles, your forearms for this instance. And what will happen is they will dilate. They will vasodilate, and your blood in your veins will become engorged. Your muscles will become pumped. It'll almost feel like your skin wants to sort of tear itself. Obviously, it won't. But it feels exceptionally good when the muscle is hard, up, and pumped. That's when you feel like to flex, for example. I'm flexing my bicep. You can see the head of the bicep is enlarged and raised, almost like a mushroom in a sense. You can see that little cap underneath there. Well, when you have a pump, you can essentially flex. See how I'm not flexing? So when you have a pump, your bicep will just automatically look like this. It's the best feeling ever. If you've never experienced a pump before, go work your muscles. Your forearm muscles, grab a dumbbell, lift weights like so. Feel the pump. The same goes for your other arm as well. Obviously, if you have a tattoo can unfortunately hide definition. How do I know this? Here's the example. You can see my tricep depending on the lighting right now, you can see a little bit of the horseshoe building up here, right? Well, do the same thing here. You can see the tattoo does, like there's a horseshoe, I can feel it right there. The tattoo does hide definition. So you can see full definition. I'm actually getting this part of my arm all right here filled on Wednesday. That'll be exciting. So that is your forearms. Should we move to the triceps, biceps, and shoulders? Good. Next, we've got, I'm using this arm because you can see definition. We've got biceps. Just one. There's two head. Bi. 1, 2. Tricep. 3 heads. 3. For this one, we'll be bi. 2 heads. 1, 2. Your inner and your outer. They can both be worked differently by one, grabbing something, and you'll notice how you can work each muscle independently of each other. Simultaneously, they do work together, but you'll notice that when you flex here, depending on which way your wrist is facing, you will work the inner or the outer muscle, the shorter or the longer head. You'll see a gap right here. Do you see this gap? With my wrist facing this way. Now, when I move my wrist perpendicular to my face, you'll see this gap closes. You're now working the outer muscle, the outer head of your bicep. Isn't that interesting? There's a gap. When you lift like this, like so, arm straight like that, you're working the inner head. This gap. Switch your wrist. You're now working the outer. Hammer curls versus standard bicep curls. That's the difference in how you work those muscles. Same goes for your triceps. When you're like this, depending on how the wrist is, it's harder to tell. But if your wrist is straight up and you're pulling down, like so, like this, just like that, you're working the outside head. When you have your wrists like this, and when you go down and you twist, you're then working the inside of your tricep. Muscle anatomy is incredible, isn't it? I can tell by your smile that you agree. Now, the shoulders. In order to shore the shoulders off completely, let's remove this shirt so we can get more onto the anatomy of the chest. All right, we've got the chest that connects into your front delts. These, especially on a male body, a female as well, but more men, tends to become overdeveloped. A lot of men like to work on doing chest press. And when you work chest, independently of working your lower, center, and upper chests, you are working your front delts. They are helping stabilize and push as well. That's why in most men, you can see this front delt is quite apparent. Same goes on the other side. A little harder to see because of the tattoo. Now, in order to work different sections of your chest, you have to do different exercises. If you're wanting to hit your upper chests, most men lack an upper chest. We're very developed in our lower chest. That's just how our anatomy is as a male. Most men, you'll notice, as a side look, have an overdeveloped under chest. Genetics can play a role. You might not have any of that, but most men will. But what we will lack, myself included, I'm trying to work on it, is an upper chest. You can see over time, if you work it, which I have been for about 6 to 7 months, the chest does create a little caveat where it gets a little bigger. Now, how do you work the upper chest? You have cable flies, 1, 2, and you step forward, thus bringing your arms behind you. You want the cables above your head, and then you pull down like so. Pull down. You're trying to bring them down like so. In doing so, you're hitting your upper chest muscles. These upper chest muscles are smaller. Your pectorals major and your minor. Your major covers quite a distance of your chest as opposed to your upper. That's why we lack a lot of upper chest, because it's underdeveloped, because the muscle, your pectoral major, takes up such a large volume of room on your chest. In order to hit the center of your chest, you could take those cables, you could lower them to shoulder height, pull forward like so, pull forward like so. And to hit the under part of your chest, take those cables down low, pull up, pull up. In doing so, you'll notice big differences on each one. Which one is the best for you is depending on which muscles you're trying to pump up. Do you want a bigger lower chest, a bigger upper chest? That's a decision for you to make. Now, not only can you do cable flies, if you want to build your up portion of your chest, you can do incline barbell bench. You set the bench at a 45-degree angle with your back pressed against. You are then pushing up. You'll notice that you'll hit your upper chest, I guarantee it. If you want to do it where you hit your lower chest, you decline that at a 45-degree, so your head is the lowest part of your body on that bench. And if you want to hit the major section just across there, flat barbell bench, lying down, pushing up. The easiest one to overload is the flat barbell bench, sort of the staple compound. Pretty straightforward. Good. I hope you're learning a lot. I hope you're learning about the male anatomy on how to build your chest. So far, we talked about how to build your biceps, your triceps, your forearms, your chest, and your front delts. They will simultaneously be worked as you're working your chest. Now, how do you hit your side delts? These are the things that you want to work the hardest out of all the muscle groups in your shoulder, between your front delt, your side delt, and your rear delt. Why? Why is that? Well, if you want to get that look where your shoulders are the widest part on your body, going down to your waist, which is the thinnest part of your body, the most narrow, giving you that V taper, the triangle we call it. You'll need to work your side delts. That creates shoulder caps. If you want to build them, you got to work them hard. I've been doing a lot of side lat raises like so. In doing so, I believe that is the most important exercise you can do. It doesn't have to be a side lat raise, but any exercise that can work the side of your delt, that will create width going out. It'll give you those shoulder caps that make you fill out a shirt and look incredible. And your rear delts, that's these. They do get neglected. They're quite a small muscle. They're actually just this little section right here. How do you work them though? What's the best way to get them to pop? Because if you work just the fronts of your chest and your front delts and your sides, naturally, your muscles will become tight. They'll slowly pull you up. Do the other side here. They'll slowly pull your shoulders forward, giving you that rounded shoulder look. But by doing that, it just constantly elongates the rear. You never get the opportunity to see those rear delts, even if you work them. Portion control. The front needs to be worked just as hard as the back. I almost recommend working your back harder than your chest. You'll see, with a stature like this, I do work my rear delts. So in standing so, you can see, I'm not the most flexible, but you can see when I stand here that rear delt is showing itself. And when you do a back double bicep, you can see, I'm not sure how much you could see there, but you can see that it does show itself off. Obviously, if you want all of this to look a little bit better over time, you need to drop body fat. Everybody has muscles. Remember that. Everybody. You all have a 6-pack, or an 8-pack, or a 10-pack, depending on your genetics. But we've all got layers of fat. Different levels for different people, hiding our muscles that we're actually physically born with. Side note, working out is a confidence booster. If you don't believe me, go do a workout, and I guarantee when you're done the workout, you'll say to yourself how good you feel. You'll never say, I wish I didn't do that, because endorphins get released when you work out, and they make you feel good all day. Don't believe me? Go ahead and try it. Now, putting that all together on a quick anatomy session there, I did leave out the lats. These are a muscle that connects from the backside of your shoulders. They run down all the way down, essentially to the lower portion of your back. Both sides. We all have 2 sets of lats. They're the piece that give you the opportunity to grow wings. When you see a bodybuilder on stage and they're posing and they put their hands on the sides of their waist, tilt their shoulders forward, you can see how a lat on both sides pops out and then they go back. Creates that width. In order to get your lats to look incredible, you need to primarily focus on rows. Anything that you can grip, pull back, elbow to your hip. That will engage your lats, latissimus dorsi as they're called. They give you a thick back. And what happens when you have a thick back? You fill out a shirt stupendously. It's what most men aspire to have. Seeing that guy walk down the road, looking at him, he's got a nice shirt on, and boy, oh boy, does he fill that shirt nicely. He's got that V taper. He's worked his rear delts. He's got a thick set of lats, his rhomboids, erectors, his traps, all of it. These are the things that can create such a confidence boost in your life. Now, putting it all together, when you do work all these muscles properly, you condition yourself. You still enjoy a cheat meal every now and then, but you're good 85 to 90% of the time on your diet. You know what? Let's not call it a diet. We shall call it your eating habits. 90% of the time, you're in a deficit where you eat under your maintenance, or you run at maintenance and you try and eat clean foods that have less ingredients on them. One ingredient, chicken. rice, spinach, not bread that has 40 ingredients on the backside. But in doing so, it gives you the opportunity to build a physique that you can start to feel incredible about. I think that that's enough about the anatomy today for the male body. We might end up doing legs one day, but for now, I hope you've learned some things today, and I hope that you take some of the advice that I said and go apply it to your life. You'll thank me. Trust me.